And so when negotiations don't go well or they're difficult, it's often because you're not getting along that well, or you get frustrated because you're not getting what you want. And if you don't deal with that, you're going to get stuck. So what you try to do is basically what they call face the problem of the people. And you can do this literally, I mean, you can see me, but the oftenest technique is just to sit down next to each other rather than opposed to each other across a table. Say you're not, the other person is not the problem. The problem is whatever your agreement you're coming to. And one of the next principle is focus on interests, not positions. So most of the time when we express a need for something or desire for something, we express it as a position. Say, I want a salary raise. I want $5,000 more. I want, the most common example to explain this is there is about two children who are fighting over an orange. It's the last orange in the house, and they both want the orange. And it escalates. They just about hit each other, and then one of the parents steps in and basically, there's only one orange. I have to cut it in half. So we cut the orange in half, and it seems like a nice compromise. But the parent didn't ask why they wanted the orange, and this is where the interest comes in, where one child actually only wanted the rind of the orange, while the other one wanted the flesh. One wanted the rind for baking a cake, and the other one wanted the flesh for juice. So you work on the hard on the problem, which is whatever you're negotiating, but you get along. So you're not trying to hit each other for an orange, right? Next step is immense options for mutual gain. And often a term that's referred to is expand the pie. There's usually more there than meets the eye. Often we think there's a pie and we need to share whatever is there. We just have to cut it in half, like the orange. But we saw there was more to it than just the orange and cutting it in half. One example could be in like a labor negotiations that the union wants to have flex time or compressed work week and so forth, and the employer might say, we don't want to give you that benefit. That's going to disrupt and all that stuff. But when you look at it and explore the interest and what happens behind it, it shows that it's actually a benefit to the employer to accommodate the wish of the union, because there's usually less absenteeism when in those arrangements. Otherwise, once to develop options, you do brainstorm, you suspend your judgments when you brainstorm, and evaluate the options afterwards. The fourth step is to insist on using objective criteria. And these are for the times where there are times where you have to cut an orange in half because people want exactly the same thing. Or often when it comes to money, I want $60,000, well, I only have $50,000 to give you. And this is where pushing, usually both parties come not quite satisfied. So what is often effective is to agree on a fair standard. So you look outside, say if you are applying for a job and you're considered for a new position and that's how much you want to get paid, instead of saying, well, I want $50,000 salary, and it's always struggle, what number do I come up with when they ask me, you can say, well, I would like to pay according to a standard that we agree on. It could be positions a similar job in other organizations or in other parts of the country and so forth. And often you have to agree on a fair procedure to actually get there. This could be a big negotiation in itself. But what if it doesn't work? Well, another book, which is actually my favorite book, is Getting Past No. It's in the negotiations where people really don't want to negotiate. They use dirty tricks and so forth. And they actually use examples from like hostage negotiations, because it's actually possible to negotiate a hostage taker to release the hostages. It's pretty amazing. But that's a whole other lecture. What you always have to do is to have what they call a BAFNA, a best alternative to negotiated agreement. And this could be as simple as when you're asking for a salary raise for a place you're already working, you have an alternative. Maybe you have another job offer somewhere else. Sometimes you have to develop that alternative, so actually apply for other jobs before you ask for a salary raise. So you have an alternative, so you're in a far stronger position. These are, if you're interested in this, there are a few of the books I mentioned. These are the references. You can always ask me. I want to end with, when you go home tonight, is to, think of a time, recent experience you had in negotiation or dispute, where how could have been different if you used some of these principles. Thank you.